In a quiet village called Umuade, where the sun rose gently over the palm trees and life moved at the rhythm of nature, there lived a young woman named Favour. Favour was not just beautiful, she was unforgettable. Her skin glowed under the sun like polished bronze. Her smile carried warmth, and her eyes held a kindness that words could not describe. But what made Favour truly special was her heart. In a world where many chased wealth, Favour believed in peace. In a village where status meant everything, she valued character.
Not far from the village square, beyond the narrow paths and tall grasses, there lived a man named Obina. Every morning, before the first rooster crowed, he would climb the tallest palm trees. With rough hands and quiet strength, he tapped palm wine, moving from tree to tree, as though the world rested on his shoulders. To the villagers, Obina was just a poor palm wine tapper, a man with no future, no wealth, no importance. But what they did not know was that Obina was living a life he had chosen, a life that hid a truth powerful enough to change everything. One afternoon, under the burning sun, Obina sat beneath a tree, exhausted, his body weak, his breath heavy. And then Favour appeared. With a clay pot balanced on her head, she walked gracefully until her eyes met his. She stopped. She looked at him, not with judgment, but with concern. Slowly, she lowered her pot and offered him water. "Drink," she said softly. Obina hesitated. No one had ever stopped for him before. But something in her voice felt different. He took the water and drank. And in that moment, something began.
Yes, days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into moments they both began to treasure. Favour would pass by the palm trees, sometimes with food, sometimes with nothing but her presence. They talked about life, about dreams, about a world beyond the village. Obina spoke little, but when he did, his words carried depth. Favour listened, and slowly she fell in love. Not with his status, not with his appearance, but with his soul. But the village was watching, and the village was laughing. A girl like Favour, they said, with a palm wine tapper. What a waste! Even his friends mocked him. Even her friends questioned her. He has nothing, they warned. But Favour remained calm, because she saw something they could not see. One evening, her closest friend confronted her. "Favour," she said, "you are making a mistake. Love does not feed a family." Favour smiled gently and replied, "Peace feeds the soul."
Yes. One evening, as the sun set, Obina turned to her and asked the question that had been on his heart. "If I remain like this forever, will you still stay?" Favour looked into his eyes. Without hesitation, she answered, "I did not fall in love with what you have. I fell in love with who you are." And then the unexpected happened. One morning, luxury cars entered the village. Dust filled the air. Children ran. Villagers gathered. Whispers spread like wildfire. The doors opened, and a man stepped out, dressed in a fine suit, clean, confident, unrecognizable. It was Obina, the same man they mocked, the same man they laughed at. Silence filled the air, and then the truth was revealed. He was no ordinary man. He was the son of a billionaire, a man who had chosen to live in humility to find something real. The laughter stopped. The whispers turned to silence. The same people who mocked him now lowered their heads. Regret filled the village, but regret came too late. Through the crowd, Obina walked toward Favour, not as a rich man, but as the man she loved. He held her hands and said, "You saw me when no one else did." Tears filled her eyes, because she never needed wealth, she only needed truth. The village that once mocked now gathered to celebrate. Drums played, voices sang, and love filled the air. Favour and Obina were married, not because of wealth, but because of truth. And so the village of Umuade learned something that day. Never mock what you do not understand, because the person you ignore today may be the one you admire tomorrow. And true love does not look at what is seen, it sees what is hidden. Be careful who you laugh at, because tomorrow may change everything.